So nice and tender. I like the way it kind of semi-soaks into the rice. Hey everyone, how's it going? We are going to be making some stir-fried tomatoes with eggs. So this is a real classic home-style Chinese dish. This is one of those dishes. My friend Francis Lam, who hosts the Splendid Table, he wrote a piece about this dish where he described it as being like air, where it's invisible but always present in Chinese culture. A recipe for this dish would almost be like giving someone like a recipe for toast. It's like you don't really need a recipe. It's just so commonly made, and there's so many ways to do it that a recipe is almost superfluous. That said, there are many recipes and there are many ways to make it. I have a recipe in my book, The Wok, and I'm going to be very loosely following that today. In that version of the recipe, I cook my tomatoes and my scallions in the wok, and then I add my eggs to it afterwards. In the version I'm going to make today, I'm going to cook my eggs first, and then sort of make the tomato sauce and add the eggs back in. You really can do it either way. The end result is going to be a little bit different depending on how you do it, and I'll speak to that as the tomatoes are cooking. But in either case, we're going to start with a half dozen eggs here that I'm beating. I want them to be pretty smooth. I don't want really any big chunks of white or yolk remaining. I want it to be all pretty much homogeneous. Okay, and now to those eggs, I'm going to add, as I often do when I'm making scrambled eggs of any kind, I'm going to add a little bit of cubed up butter. It's about 2 tablespoons of cubed up butter. I'm going to season with a dash of fish sauce. You could just use salt or soy sauce if you want. I'm using fish sauce here. And then I'm also going to make a little bit of a cornstarch slurry. So here I have 2 teaspoons of cornstarch. I'm going to add about a 1/4 cup of water. You don't have to be super precise on that. And then just mix this up. And half of this is going to go straight into my eggs. And then the other half I'm going to save for my tomato sauce later. Okay. And the idea here is that in the eggs, the cornstarch slurry is going to help them from binding too tightly so that they're going to stay more tender. They're going to hold on to more moisture as they cook. And you're going to end up with sort of more juicier, softer eggs than you would without it. All right, eggs in the wok. I've said this like a million times, but when we're preheating a wok, that's really what we're talking about when we're seasoning a wok is the process of preheating it, and that's what's going to keep our eggs from sticking. It doesn't matter if your wok has been used a million times or if it's a very fresh wok. As long as you preheat it properly, the eggs should not stick to it. I've done this with a brand new wok before, and I've done it with this wok, which I've had for a number of years. In fact, this wok over here, is the wok that I use. I've had this one since I was 19 years old. This is a Joyce Chen wok. This is the updated version of the Joyce Chen wok. Both of them are the Joyce Chen Pro. Actually, no, I think this one, this is a chef made that I got in Target like 20 something years ago. This one, eventually the handle broke, so it doesn't stay flat. So I had to retire it after I finished writing my wok book, and I replaced it with this one, which is the Joyce Chen Pro. When you're looking for a wok, you want to buy carbon steel. That's going to give you the sort of the best balance between lightweightness, the ability to heat it really hot, which a nonstick wok cannot do, by the way. And it's not going to be too heavy like a cast iron wok will be. And it'll also get you a nice nonstick surface as long as you preheat it well. So 14-inch flat bottom, at least 16 gauge, so at least about 1.5 millimeters thick is what you're looking for in a wok. All right, so I'm going to preheat this until it's smoking hot like that. Then I'm going to reduce the heat down to about a medium-low for eggs. Add a little swirl of oil in here. And I'm going to drop my eggs right in the middle. I'm just going to give them kind of a few lazy swirls as they cook. You see, because we preheated our wok really well, you shouldn't really have much sticking going on. And at this stage, I'm not looking to fully cook my eggs. I want quite a bit of loose eggs remaining because we are going to be adding this back to the tomato sauce. and it's going to be cooking a little bit further. I'm going to put it right back into the same bowl that I got him out of. Okay, now I'm just going to give my wok a little wipe out. And we're going to come start building our tomato sauce. All right, so real simple tomato sauce here. I'm going to start by, I got a mix of Roma tomatoes and these cherry tomatoes. You can use all Romas, you can use beefsteaks, it doesn't really matter. I like to use a little mix of them for flavor and for texture reasons. But basically we just want to cut our tomatoes into chunks. And take out the cores. Roma tomatoes are nice for this, and cherry tomatoes are both nice because both those types of tomatoes are real high in pectin, and pectin is what's going to give your tomato sauce body. That's why Roma tomatoes are typically what's used for making tomato sauce. So pectin, in the same way that you would add fruit pectin to jam to make it set and to give it body and texture, pectin inside your Roma tomatoes is what's going to give your tomato sauce body and texture. Whereas something like a beefsteak tomato, you can use it and it'll be fine, but they're going to be a little bit waterier, and the sauce is not going to be quite as sort of clingy, which is the way I like it. All right, so I got about the recipe calls for 8 to 12 ounces. Honestly, you can eyeball it; it's not going to matter. This is probably closer to maybe 14 ounces or so, all said and done, but that's totally fine. All right, oil, bottom of the pan again. This is just a neutral oil, anything that works for high temperature cooking. And then I've got 4 scallions, just the whites and the light green parts. Stir fry those real briefly. And then I'm going to get my tomatoes right in there. So these tomatoes now, I'm going to season them. A little bit of salt, a touch of sugar, about a teaspoon of sugar, and then secret ingredient, ketchup. I'm going to go with about a tablespoon of ketchup. So eggs and tomatoes, depending on what part of the world you're from, you probably have some version of this dish in your food culture. The combination, you find it cropping up all over the place. So down in Colombia, you have a dish called huevos pericos, which is the scrambled eggs with diced tomatoes and scallions, just like this. My grandmother, when I was growing up, she was Japanese. She made a dish called to-tama, which is tomato and egg. Very similar dish to this, Japanese version of it. In Mexico, there is huevos rancheros, which is eggs cooked in a tomato sauce. Similarly, in Italy, you'll have uovo all'amatriciana. In Rome or down in the south, you might have eggs in purgatory, which is what? Eggs in priatorio? I don't know. Eggs in purgatory, which is also eggs cooked in tomato sauce. In Turkey, there is a dish called menemen, which is also eggs cooked in tomato sauce. And very similarly, you'll have a dish like shakshuka, which is, again, eggs and tomato sauce. So that combination, combining eggs, real simple protein with tomatoes, which provide you that sort of umami and sweetness and acidity, and it's all real quick cooking. The combination seems to go really well, and you find it the world over. All right, so to this tomato sauce now, I'm going to add the remainder of that cornstarch slurry. I'm also going to season it with a little bit of white pepper. So by the way, the eggs, I cooked the eggs separately this time. That's going to give them a sort of more distinct curd texture. Whereas if you want your eggs to be sort of more part of the sauce and a little bit more, I don't know, the way like you would find them in like an egg drop soup, where they're a little bit more sort of strands of eggs and a more sauce-like texture. You can add your raw eggs directly to the sauce and cook them in the sauce, and you'll get more sort of that texture. In this case, however, we've got the eggs that are sort of half cooked going in, so you get a little bit of that, but you also get these sort of bigger pieces and bigger curds going in. This dish, one of my kids' favorite things. I love it because it's real simple to make. It takes all of 5 minutes or 10 minutes to do. It's good for breakfast, it's good for dinner. And I'm going to finish mine off with some cilantro some of the scallion greens. Fold some of that in. Oops. And then it'll go right over the rice here. I'll finish it off with just a little more cilantro and scallions as garnish. And I actually forgot the most classic version of eggs with tomatoes, which is the one that my son likes. And I don't like that he likes this, but I support him nonetheless. He likes his scrambled eggs cooked hard and served with ketchup. And he has that for breakfast like every other day. And he always specifically asks for hard scrambled eggs with ketchup. He is only 3 years old, so I forgive him for that. But anyhow, let's try this out, huh? So nice and tender. I like the way it kind of semi-soaks into the rice. Mmm. Hey, Chen, you want some, bud? Chen? Official taste tester Chen. Come here. Come here, bud. Come here, bud. Come here, bud. No? Come on. All right. So, eggs with tomatoes, Chinese style, eggs with tomatoes, stir-fried, home style, real simple. Good for humans, good for kids, good for pets. Guys, gals, non-binary pals, and four-legged friends. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Hey everyone, I hope you enjoyed the video. You can find the full article and recipe along with bonus content and my newsletter for free on my Patreon. Don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel for more videos like this, or my alternate channel, Kenji Lopez Main, for my dining content. And follow me on Instagram at Kenji López-Alt for daily updates. You can also get signed and personalized copies of any of my books. That's The Food Lab, The Wok, or my children's book, Every Night is Pizza Night, shipped from Book Larder here in Seattle. Find the links to all of this, as well as all of the tools I used in today's video, in the description below. Thanks.